Super Rugby AU Round 1 Team of the Week. Dream Team. Let's go through it. Only 2 games to look at with the old Super Rugby AU and Aotearoa competitions respectively, which one of them gets out of the way next week. But I guess that's no different from the Tri-Nations or Rugby Championship when that's on. It's only 4 teams playing any one given weekend. So we'll go through them. I've cheated a little bit on a couple of the positions, but anyway, you guys can let me know your thoughts. And keep in mind, I hardly paid much attention to the Reds and Waratahs second half because I was too busy faffing about with that copyright strike from Sanzar. But anyway, props. I have gone with Dane Zander from the Reds for 1, and I've gone, I won't put it in number 2, I'll put it in number 3. Santiago Medrano from the Force. Now, Dane Zander's stats don't look very good. If you just look at a prop stats, it's kind of hard to get a feeling for how well he played. No run meters, 1 pass, although 1 try assist. One pass, 1 try assist is a pretty good return. 5 from 7 tackles. But ultimately, if there was a game where the scrum was on top, it was the Reds and the Tars, wasn't it? I thought the forced scrum held up pretty well, which is part of the reason this man's here. Although they said in the commentary that apparently the Brumbies were the most penalised scrum in Super Rugby AU last season, so maybe their scrum wasn't all that dominant, it was more their maul. But for Mr. Medrano, 12 run meters, 2 passes, 1 offload, 3 from 4 tackles, and 1 penalty conceded overall. I think it's a pretty good effort as well. He was a big part in stopping that Brumbies maul, keeping the forced scrum pretty solid. The forced scrum last season didn't look that good either, so I thought he was a good addition. And largely for scrummaging and work at set-piece time, these guys are in my team of the week. The stats never do them justice. Another force man, I've gone with Feliti Katu'u. He had a pretty good outing for the force, I thought. Now, Mafi was also pretty good for the Reds. He scored a try, and Fainga was obviously there for the Brumbies as well, but I've gone with Katu'u. 8 run meters is not a huge return, but he's a front row, so we'll give him that. 2 passes, 9 from 9 tackles, and again with the set piece, but also the line out was 100%. That's not easy to do on the first week back, so 100% line out for him. I think it was like 16 from 16, so it's a pretty good, it's like no mean feat, that one. Pretty good effort from him, and he played a fair few minutes as well. Locks, I have gone with Caden Neville from the Brumbies. He had a pretty good outing, especially defensively. Not that much ball in hand, no run meters, but 6 passes and an offload. 24 out of 25 tackles is amazing. Literally that just doesn't happen very often. But there's another guy I'll get to shortly who had a bunch of tackles similarly. 5 line-out takes. He did concede 2 penalties, and he's not credited with it, but there's a couple of times he really disrupted the Force's maul. One time he slapped the ball down, and he just made himself very much a big old nuisance. So that's what he was there. He's not there for flashy run meters. He was there for defensive disruption and securing line-out ball. Did a very good job of that. And also from the Reds, I've gone with Seru Uru. He had 34 run meters, a bit more flashy compared to Caden Neville's display. 34 run meters, which is ridiculous for a lock. 2 clean breaks, ridiculous for a lock. 4 passes, 2 offloads. The guy does know he's a type 5 forward, right? 2 turnovers conceded, 8 from 11 tackles, 5 line-out wins, 2 line-out steals, 2 penalties conceded. So a bit of a mixed bag. A few missed tackles and some penalties conceded, some pill coughed up, but proper X-factor locking player. It'd be nice to kind of have those 2 guys together, actually, because generally you need that. The one who's got the skill sets of maybe a loose forward and the other guy who's just like a defensive powerhouse and being able with that extra height to disrupt the maul and whatnot. So, yeah, I thought those 2 pretty good pairing for this week. Now, Lucy's, I've kind of done a little bit of moving around. I've put he played 7, but I've snuck in Fraser McCrate here from the Reds. He had a pretty good game. Remember, Liam Wright's absence, so that Reds back row was missing the captain, but they didn't look to be missing much. McCrate had 54 run meters, beat 5 defenders, had a clean break, 4 passes and an offload, 11 from 14 tackles, and a try assist. Bloody hell. He did have 2 turnovers conceded and 1 penalty conceded if you're looking for a black mark. But overall, he stood up pretty well. I don't know what it is about Aussie rugby, but there always just seems to be depth upon depth upon depth in loose forwards. And Fraser McRae is certainly putting his hand up for that argument to be true. I've managed to sneak in one Waratahs player here. Mr. Tizano, that's Carlo Tizano, 44 run meters, which is also for a Lucy pretty good effort. Beat 2 defenders, had 2 passes, and he actually managed to beat Caden Neville's tackle count with 25. Neville had 24. 25 is also a phenomenal effort. I don't want you guys to think that's like normal because there's 2 guys in the mid-20s here. That's not normal. 25 out of 27 is phenomenal. He did concede 1 penalty, but man, he is going to be sore today after making that many tackles. And one more Reds player, I've gone with Harry Wilson as number 8. He was maybe even quiet by his own standards, but he was still pretty good. 23 run meters. Again, he can do better than that. Beat 1 defender. He usually does better than that. But 6 passes, and that's one good thing about him. I mentioned to Pete Samu in the preview video, but Harry Wilson is also a proper ball handling number 8. He's got very silky skills. He can set up others around him, not just trying to do things all himself. And offload, he did concede 2 turnovers and a penalty, but 10 from 13 tackles. In comparison to Tizano and Neville, doesn't look that flash, but it's not too bad. He'd want to up that. Brad Thorne would want him to stop missing those 3, but yeah, those are the forwards for this week. Into the backs, I've gone with Nick White, and kind of like props, halfbacks are sometimes ones that it's hard to see their impact just based on numbers. You look at Nick White's stats, 3 run meters is not all that much. There's a lot of more sniping. Halfbacks, I thought, Kubeli looked really good when he came on for the Force, but 3 run meters, but still managed to beat 1 defender. 54 passes, he had a try assist, 5 from 5 tackles, 7 kicks, a penalty conceded, 2 turnovers conceded, but overall, he was just running the game out. He just seemed really in control of that game for the Brumbies. Like I said, I thought the Force looked better when Pryor came off and Kubeli came on. But yeah, and Jake Gordon was actually a bit of a live wire before he got hurt for the Waratahs. So if you were going to sneak another Waratahs player in, you maybe go with Gordon. But anyway, McDermott, I think we'll still see better from him. But he was maybe making decisions that he wouldn't have made last year in terms of he wasn't taking everything himself. He was being more of a distributor, which again doesn't reflect all that well in the stats because the stats are mostly what did you do with the ball individually. So yeah, just setting up somebody else doesn't look as good. Next, number 10, I've gone with James O'Connor. I probably could have gone with Lolosio. They both had pretty good outings. Very good for the boot, 2 penalties, 5 conversions. He had 35 run meters, beat a defender, had a clean break, 19 passes and an offload, 2 try assists. He was absolutely pulling the strings for the Reds, maybe similarly to the way that White was doing for the Brumbies in a different position, albeit. 3 from 5 tackles. He did have 4 turnovers conceded, which is bad. And from what little I saw of it, off and on, the second half did seem to go a bit to custard. But anyway, I still thought Jock looked pretty good. Midfielders, I've gone with Ire Simone from the Brumbies. And he, since his, season last year, has really started to up his game to another level. And it's really, really pleasing to see. He scored a try. His partnership with Ikitau was phenomenal. He had a try, which was a bit of a back and forth between him and Ikitau. 40 run meters, beat 4 defenders, a clean break, 8 passes. 1 turnover conceded if you're looking for black marks. Missed 3 tackles but made 9 and 4 kicks. So he's also a guy who can kick from 12 jersey, which, like if you remember Matanonu in his career, I'm not saying he's the same kind of player, but Matanonu developed a bit of a kicking game in his own right. So it's nice to have a kicking 12 as well. It takes a bit of pressure off year 10. Midfield partner for him, I've gone with Hunter Paisami. For him, I don't think the stats quite do him justice. I think he was a bit of a threat for most of the evening. 42 run meters is nothing to turn your nose up at. 3 defenders beaten and 5 passes. Whereas Stewart, I don't think passed at all, but he still had a pretty decent outing as well, to be fair. An offload, he did concede 2 turnovers and missed 2 tackles, but he had a kick and made 4 tackles. Overall, he looks pretty good. I think if you're an Aussie rugby fan, you're pleased with the number of decent young midfielders coming through. Like I mentioned, Ikitau had a pretty good game as well. The Force guys. It was Kahui. Who was the other one? Oh, Kurandrani. Yeah, Kurandrani was actually not too bad as well, but he did get kind of semi-beaten by Ikitau for the Simone try. So there you go. Outside backs, I have gone with Filippo Daugunu from the Reds. He's maybe your player of the week. Maybe. He had, 2 tries, 99 run meters, 6 defenders beaten, 3 clean breaks. Absolutely attacking threat. He did concede 2 turnovers and missed 2 tackles, but made 4 for an outside back or a winger. It's a pretty good return. Very, very dangerous. Maybe back to his best. Other one, I've gone with Hansen from the Brumbies. Didn't score any tries, so maybe won't get the glory, but 91 run meters, beat a defender, 3 clean breaks as well, 5 passes, and offload, and 4 from 5 tackles. Also a very good outing for him. And another Brumbie to finish things off. I've gone with Tom Banks. Big old boot of his. I thought Rob Kearney looked alright. I mean, to get beaten for that last try from Isaac Fines. But he was pretty controlled. But his banana kicks of his are going to be a threat with the 50-22 rules. But Tom Banks, 68 run meters, 1 defender beaten, 1 clean break, 11 passes, 1 try assist. He did concede 1 turnover, was perfect with his 3 from 3 tackles. It says -9 kicks. I don't know how you get -9. I'm sure it would have been 9 kicks. And he was taking a lot of the kicks for touch. But anyway, team of the week. Those are the guys I've gone for. I only managed to squeeze in 1 Waratah, 2 Force players, largely Brumbies and Reds. Makes sense, they got the wins. But overall, first week of Aussie Rugby from Super Rugby AU, I'm pretty pleased. I think compared to last season's first week's games, these were much higher quality. So I look forward to seeing how the rest of this competition goes. You guys let me know your thoughts. Definitely not a perfect team, just my one. Other guys I've missed out on, other guys I could have dropped from this lot. Let me know. And yeah, I'll do it again soon. See you later.